Hey, my bows and bow ties. I'm hoping that everybody can hear me. I'm sorry I'm out here on the deck. I know it's quite loud, but I just sorry, I'm trying to get myself together here. Okay. I'm taking a short break here. I have some people in my house doing some things and it got pretty loud. So I figured I'd take a quick 5 or 10 minute break here before I finish doing some work related things. And I was like, let me just go ahead and pop this off real quick. So I did not prepare a thumbnail for this, but I will upload one after this. Um, and this wasn't a well thought out conversation I'm going to have, but I just kind of figured, let me go ahead and take a stab at it. So I jotted down a couple of notes. Um, I was sitting here or sitting inside thinking about some things. Why is the sun like really just doing this thing all of a sudden? Um, I just want to talk about America's cognitive dissonance. And, basically, cognitive dissonance is, I'm just going to like paraphrase, it's basically when you have like some sort of like internal mental conflict. It's kind of like you talk about the things that you believe, but then the very thing that you do doesn't even support it, right? I think I read somewhere a good example is kind of like where you're like, I'm all for recycling and stop using all this plastic. And then the first thing you do is go to the store and you use a whole bunch of plastic bags or something like that. So where am I going with this? Since I always think about some things. Um, Look, I was thinking about what did I write down? Oh, I was just thinking about like because all this stuff is going on with the January 6th hearing from the whole insurrection thing, right? Now I'm not really watching it so much because I don't like to watch things that are triggering. And sometimes ignorance is just a little bit of bliss. Like I'm just all the way about that bliss life. And sometimes I actually choose ignorance. Now, most people won't admit it, but I had to protect my mental health. But I was thinking about how we walk around out here in these streets like this is the land of the free, and we have this whole notion about being free, right? And we do everything we can to make sure everyone is not free. I'm thinking about like we do so much to make sure we lock up people, especially people who look like me, right? Men who look like me. It is like really bright out here all of a sudden now. It was kind of like slightly overcast all morning out here in these streets. And as soon as I come sit my happy self outside, I feel like it is blazing hot out here. So, I see my neighbor's daughter getting back in shape for soccer. She broke her collarbone, and so she's getting back in shape. She's a good player, so she's out here working out. Sorry, that ADD kicked right on in. So, anyway, I was just thinking about how we have this whole prison industrial complex and the whole pipeline of prison. It's like we talk about being free, and the very same things that we're talking about doing is like we go out of our way to make sure that people are not free. You know, we we talk about having autonomy and freedom in our choices in our bodies, but the very same thing that we're doing is we're not providing that, right? Like so we are not giving people the choice on how they want to handle unwanted pregnancies. Um, but yet we give people the choice on vasectomies. It's just so weird. Like everything just is not quite aligning with me. I'm like, it's like we talk about all of our personal freedoms, and yet we don't give people personal freedoms, you know? And then I'm just kind of thinking about like, at what point do you draw a line? At what point do you care about public health? It's like you care about the public health, and yet we don't do things to secure the public health. You guys can let your mind roam on that one, right? I mean, like even the birds are like chirping all loud. It's like gangster out here. I feel like the birds are throwing up gang signs. I don't even know how to throw gang signs, but I'm like, why are they so loud? Anyway, can you guys hear these like ridiculous birds? They're practically pterodactyls. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I just thought it was interesting when we talk about we're the land of the free, but we try to take away everyone's freedoms. We talk about how we have all these personal choices and personal freedoms, and yet we're we don't, right? Like we're trying to rob people of it. We talk about how we care about public health, and actually we do everything like we don't care about the greater good of the community, right? We're so focused on our personal freedoms, our individuality. We don't care about the community. We talk about our I think our the right to bear arms, but At what point do we draw the line, right? Because now it's like we're becoming like a police state, in my opinion. Like at some point, everyone's going to have a concealed carry. I thought about getting one because I'm like, I can't trust people out here in these streets. So I'm like, now I'm becoming part of the problem. But, I feel like I have to be like hyper focused on things, right? People are popping off. I mean, it's like the point where we don't even care. We're popping off the babies at schools. We don't care about people having the right to exercise their personal freedoms, right? To to worship how they want. So now we're going in churches and synagogues and popping off people. You can't even go out there and purchase your groceries without popping off people. So I'm just kind of like, it's such a cognitive dissonance because the very same thing that we're talking about, it doesn't seem like our actions are aligning. We claim to believe these things, but our actions don't align. What did I have on here? Oh, I did have on here bear arms and anti-military or service, whatever. Yeah. Oh, it's so funny too. We talk about we have the right to protect ourselves and we should be protecting our country. And I'm like, half of the people won't even go serve. And I know there's this now granted we have a really huge military, and I will give that to anybody that's like, well, what's up with the United States? But I think people think the entire military is just out here doing a low crawl on a daily basis. Much of what goes on is a lot of humanitarian efforts too. But that doesn't necessarily get shown in the media. I guess they don't want to show the softer side of the military. Look, I'm not pro military, I'm not anti military. I do think the military is quite large. I'm just saying the very things that people talk about, yeah, we're for this. But then they're the very ones who have not served in any capacity, whether it's the Peace Corps, whether it's the military, whether it's in any capacity, because we become so focused on our individual and personal freedoms. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like, I don't know what's going on. I do feel like there is a true cognitive dissonance. I do. We are out here in these streets confusing ourselves. I listen to people yipping and yapping and yapping and yipping, and I'm like, what are you talking about? People are just, I just feel like everyone's mad. Everyone's mad. Everyone has a cause about something. Everyone. I mean, you've got black people are mad. You got black men who are in this old manosphere thing who are just like totally bonkers. You got the white men who are mad. White men are mad. They're just mad and they take it to a whole other level. They just got to go pop people off. Now, I know that was a stereotype, okay? But that's what's being put into the news right now. So, speaking to those things that have been happening in the last 6 to 8, it's actually been happening since I don't know how many years, but now there's a lot of media coverage for it. We've got trans communities mad because, especially the ones who have transitioned to women, they want to be perceived a certain kind of way and they want a lot of attention for. They're like, I'm a real woman. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll call you whatever you want. I don't have to necessarily believe all that. I don't care what all the definitions say. But I'm not going to be disrespectful to anybody as long as you're not going to be disrespectful to me. So you got the trans communities mad. Now, there are people who are targeting them, but I think that the trans community is so small. I don't think the problem is as magnified as some of these other problems we are facing, right? But it is still a problem. We've got Asians, stop the Asian hate. When actually, I mean, although there is some crazy going on, but like suddenly they've got bills and carrying on. I'm like, wait a second, Asians don't protest for anything really. Now that doesn't mean all Asians, but Asians don't really care about all these other issues out here until it becomes affects them, and I get it. But this whole massive campaign for stop the Asian hate, I'm like, come on. The Asian hate thing. I'm like, all right. So the Asians are mad, the mad, the trans are mad, the white men are mad, black men are mad, black women are like, I'm checking out. White women want everybody to get involved on all the women's causes, and the black women are like, no, you go get involved on that because you haven't been helping any of us all this time. So now all the white women are mad that the black women are chiming in on the Roe v. Wade stuff. It's just on and on and on. Everybody's mad. You got the gun owners or the gun lovers are mad. They're mad. You got people who don't want to take the cootie medicine. You got the people who want you to take the cootie medicine. Everybody's mad. You got the housing market jacked up. So now all the people who aren't like millionaires are mad. You got the millionaires who are like, I don't see a problem. What's going on? I only bought up like half of a city. I'm giving you a place. See, this make this like a feudalistic society. Everyone's mad. Anyway, I digress. I think what I was originally trying to speak to was America's cognitive dissonance. Our actions don't typically, they're not, it's not really aligning with some of the things that we're doing. So ultimately, sorry, my allergies, my nose, oh gosh. Ultimately, we just have this internal conflict. And I think that we're struggling with this notion of freedom. Like, and we like to think that we're so special and we have a constitution and all these other things. And yet, we're doing much of what's going on is that we're eating ourselves from the inside. We are literally tearing ourselves apart. So, anyway, I just had to get that off my chest because you know I'm opinionated. Now, when I'm done with this video, I'll go in the back end and I will hook up all the stuff I need to. I'll put up a thumbnail that's reasonable, and yeah, and some other SEO stuff. But that's pretty much it. Go ahead and subscribe because you know you like me in every way. All right. Now look, I'm out here melting suddenly because now it decided to get warm and it's hot. And I didn't put the umbrella up, so my forehead is starting to get a little bit moist. All right, let me go ahead and get my little outro out here. Where's my outro? Go ahead and subscribe. Thumbs up. Go ahead. Just thumbs up. All right. How do I get out of here? Where's my situation? You can tell I haven't done this in a minute. Bye.